It is time to take a look at your money here on Good Morning Quad Cities. But first, your weekly stock market recap. The S&P 500 up 3.5%. The NASDAQ up just under 3.5%. And the Dow Jones Industrial Average up over 3%, which is all welcome news there. Amid the pandemic, many of us worked from home, but now some employers are still trying to get their workers to return to the office. And financial advisor Mark Ravicheski is joining us live on Good Morning Quad Cities. Good morning, Mark.
Hey, very good Monday morning to you, David. Great to see you again.
Yes, you as well. You know, over the last 3 years, we've seen employees really working at home, but trying to come back. So why do you think it's been kind of a challenge to get people to return to the workplace?
Yeah, the pandemic really changed a lot of how and where we perform much of our work. Before the pandemic, just 7% of Americans, David, worked full time from home. That's not a lot of people. But compare that to July 2020, during the height of the pandemic, when the number of Americans working full time from home jumped all the way up to 42%. Once the economy started to reopen, there has been this ongoing push, so to speak, by employers to get their workers back to the office. Currently, about 26% of all employees still work full time from home. But it's within this remaining 26% of workers, David, that we're seeing this. I guess you could call it a little bit of a struggle between employers who are saying, okay, look, the pandemic is over. We want or we need you to return back to the office. And on the other hand, you have employees who are saying, no, I'm staying at home. I can do my work just as effectively and efficiently from my kitchen table than I can from some office cubicle.
Yeah, some people are able to work from home and it doesn't affect them, much at all. I was one that I was too close to the snacks all the time, gained all the weight. But some people, some employers are still having a hard time getting their employees back. So how would you get them to return to the office?
Well, for much of the past 3 years, the ongoing labor shortage has, shifted that traditional balance of power away from the employer and really more to the employee. Many employers have been desperately trying to find qualified workers to meet their needs. And that shift in power has allowed many employees to say, look, if you want me to work for you, here's my list of demands. And part of those demands allows me to work from home. As you pointed out, you get work pajamas as well.
That's right. I think the pandemic also showed people trying to balance that work-life harmony a little bit more. So they were able to kind of go out on that limb and say, this is how I want to be treated a little bit more. But why do you think there's still such hesitation by so many people to return to the office, especially when COVID isn't as prevalent?
Well, David, I think many people really got to enjoy what they perceive as the benefits of working from home. I mean, whether you call it work pajamas or just kind of a more casual, working environment. But look, there's no commute to or from the office. I've got a lot of friends in Chicago that it takes them from their doorstep to the office at least well over an hour. Wow. You save money on gasoline and dry cleaning, but also provides a much greater work-life balance. And all the surveys, David, show that employees are still demanding some type of flexibility in their work. 97% of all employees want some type of work from home option, even if it's just 1 day a week. 68% of employees that currently work full-time from home would actually quit their job if they were forced to return back to the office. 34% would return to the office, but only with some type of flexible work schedule. And 27%, David, say they would return to the office, but only if they could negotiate some type of higher salary.
Those are pretty striking numbers, but do you foresee us ever returning to the old normal in the workplace?
Yeah, David, there's always going to be, certain jobs or certain employers that will require the employee to be full time at the physical job site. But in my opinion, I do think there is a growing acceptance, whether employers like it or not, for at least some type of hybrid model, which allows some of those employees to work from home, maybe 1 or 2 days a week.
All right.
But the key word they're asking for, David, is flexibility.
Yeah, especially when you show them that you can make it work and you could, it can be done, so it makes sense to have a little bit of negotiating power there. Thanks, Mark,
Yeah.
so much for joining us this morning.
Hey, great to see you again, David. Enjoy the rest of your week. Talk to you soon.
You too.